Hello, welcome to the Yes You May podcast with me, Amanda May Gray, where we talk all about ways to improve your self confidence and to learn to give yourself permission in any area of your life, which is why today I am very excited to bring to you Emmy Hernandez, who is a love coach and a phenomenal businesswoman. So without further ado, because you know me, I just got to start. I just got to dive right in. Emmy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited that you said yes to me.
Of course. Who can say no to you? Come on.
I mean, somebody eventually is gonna be like, she crazy,
Well, that's why we crazy friends, girl. That's why we
That's right.
crazy
That's right.
friends.
That's how this goes. So you, my dear, are a love
Yes.
coach, which I think is the epitome of telling yourself, yes, you may.
Mm.
How did you get into this and why do you love it?
Holy moly. Well, how I got into it's a really long story. I'm going to give you the short version is that I was really bad at it. I was really bad at love, heartbreak after heartbreak, dated some narcissistic men, dated some losers, and then decided I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. Decided to make some changes. I got some coaches, and then I became certified in some really cool coaching techniques. And I realized I was really good at this. So now I help women and couples around the world have epic, thriving relationships.
I love that so much. I love that you identified that you were good at it. How did you figure it out? Were you just, coaching people, coaching some friends, or did somebody come to you and be like, girl, you could do a business out of this?
You know what? It all started off with friends coming, when people see the results and the result being my now husband, Matt, they're like, wait,
Hey guys.
right, like he's awesome. Can we clone him? Does he have brothers? He's an only child.
That
Right.
question always makes me laugh. Does he have brother? Like, you're like, why is that the question? How about friends? I don't know.
I know, right? I've never met like brothers are the same in the family, by the way. It's
People used to be
hilarious.
like, do you have a sister? And I'm like, yes, but that's like, what?
I know, it's irrelevant.
She's over there. Like, what? I don't know.
know.
Sorry.
I
My own
know.
little pet peeve of like,
No, I love it. It doesn't make any sense, but that's
anyways.
what people think is the result. Or another favorite is, how did you meet? And we met on a dating app, so they think, oh, let's go to that same dating app. It's
Right.
like it's got nothing to do with that, people. They're like, oh wow, like there's a secret. It was like, no, there are some secrets, but that's not
That's not the secret.
Yes.
Love
So
the app. It's great.
I
Not the
know,
secret.
right? Yeah, that is not the secret, right? So what's funny is that it started there because my friends were seeing the quote unquote results, and also the woman I became, and they're like, you're not the same person I met like years ago in like the best way possible. And I'm like, no, you're right, I'm not. And those that were curious and reached out then got to get the full details of how everything went down and how everything happened. And they're like, ooh, tell me more. And as I started helping them, they said their lives were changing. So I was like, maybe, just maybe people would pay for this. And when I first launched, I was horrible at it and people were not paying for it. And it wasn't because the message wasn't important, it's because I wasn't putting the message out correctly. So there are a lot of lessons learned there in the beginning.
That's awesome. But you kept going.
I
And
did.
here you are.
And here I am.
What kept you going? Like, what was your drive to say, you know what, I'm going to figure this out one way or another?
It was several things. One, the amount of pain I saw so many women in, and realizing like, God dang it, like I can help with that. And number two, being sick and tired of all the other jobs that I had and was doing. And I was like, I hate that. My soul is disappearing. I don't want this anymore. So it was like, I was being pulled from one direction and pushed from another. And I was like, I got to make this freaking work no matter what. And it was like no options from there. And of course, having the support from my now hubby made a world of difference. So it's, I'm not going to say that it was just like, oh my God, I believed in myself so much. I really didn't. I really didn't believe in myself so much in the beginning. What was there is my heart and soul felt so congruent with this is what I wanted to do in the world. And then finding the right people that were going to help me get to the right steps and borrowing their belief in the meantime.
Yeah, that's so, so important. I've definitely noticed that in my own journey is like finding the people who also believe in you are also doing similar things, coaches, mentors. It makes a world of a difference because when you're by yourself and you are doubting, because none of us believe 100% when we first start off, I
Mm.
don't think. Especially when it's like a talent or like something like this that you're really showing versus like a product. But even a product, it's very hard to 100% believe in yourself and do. That's the key though, is finding other people, the community, the mentors that can help push you forward. And I love that you admitted that you weren't 100% confident, because I think so many people just assume everybody's like, "I love this. I'm amazing." And it's not, that's not the case.
Not at all.
And that's my whole point behind this show, is like, no, you don't have to be 100% confident. You can still keep going, push forward, and, figure it out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I went from being terrified of charging people $100 to show up for like a 12-week course and like behind the scenes with my honey and be like, honey, nobody wants to pay for this. He's like, just keep going, you'll see somebody will. I'm like, okay, and crying and be like, this isn't working. To now I'm charging $30,000 contracts for VIP clients for my executive level. So all that happened in less than a year, by the way. Like my prices went from $100 to 30,000 for the same amount, and actually a lot less work and a lot less time. So it's just really funny what happens as you start getting a little bit of results. Your certainty grows in yourself and your belief. And also what ended up happening was that because of my coaching style, my clients get really incredible results very quickly.
Mm,
So they start referring me other clients. So instead of me going out and having to market on my own and having to convince people that I'm good, I don't have to do that anymore. I've built up such a good authority and credibility in the marketplace, which is a good thing to do,
huge.
that people refer me business and they're like, you need, this is literally what people tell me. They're like, so and so sent me to you. They said that I need you in my life. So where do I sign up? That's literally all the cover. I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's a contract, and we'll get started next week. That's my life.
I love that. That is so fantastic. That journey is amazing too, how quickly, you found that momentum, but it was the results really that
Yes.
helped you as well. And finding that path. What I thought was interesting is that you science-backed results, and you studied at
Yes.
some serious colleges.
I
And
did. Yes.
you're very, it's not just like woo woo meditate like, don't get me wrong, I gotta meditate every day. But you have like serious subconscious retraining,
Yes, I
which I
do.
think I probably could
So
use, even though I have love.
yeah,
Tell me about it though.
I'm big on the woo woo, and I'm super spiritual and energetic and all that fun stuff. Here's the thing though, is I bring science to everything. So I've
I
been
love that.
studying quantum physics for 15 years on my own, like no degree or accreditation
Because
for
it's
that.
fun.
Yeah, to me, quantum physics is fun
I love
because
that
I
about
attach
you.
it to, how the universe actually works, like how things actually materialize into a 3D plane. And it's not an accident. Like we are magnets, right? We have energy bodies. So we're not going to get into too many of those details, but we know that the Earth has, 7.83 hertz is the center of what the Earth sound makes. So if you train your mind and your heart to synchronize, because we have brain waves and we have heart waves, and
Yeah.
the science now proves that when your brain waves and your heart waves are out of sync, this is what creates dis-ease in the body, out of ease, right? So when we train these waves to synchronize, you live in a life of ease and things come to you easily and effortlessly, which to other people seems like magic. There's so many people in my life that say, Emmy, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
Right.
Honey, ain't luck got nothing to do with what I've done. It is very scientific approach. And I do have a communications degree from UC Berkeley. So I come to this from the psychology background, communications training, and I have become what I call a translator for my clients, because most people don't know when they say something, they don't know what they actually mean. And I'll tell them,
Right.
well, what's going on there is X, Y, and Z. And they're like, what? I had no idea. I'm like, I know, that's what you got. That's what you got me for.
That's so cool. I love that you're bringing science into it and not just, oh, just tweak this profile. No, no. There's
No.
there's real issues that we have, especially as women,
Yes.
that we don't talk about, that is hush-hush, that we are, especially in the American society, are like, we're brought up to believe things, and reprogramming that and even just communicating about it makes a world of difference. And a lot of stuff from our childhood too, potentially. I know I was listening to another interview you did, and you were talking about how trauma on your maternal side can show up in your own life from your mom, from your grandmom, how it actually follows the generations.
Yes.
That blew my mind. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you think about it, we know that genetics gets passed on. And it isn't only until really the last 2 decades, really over 20 years, that we have proof that trauma gets passed down in the DNA.
Wow.
So when trauma gets passed down, a lot of good stuff gets passed down and a lot of bad stuff does as well. The best part is that, thanks to the science from Dr. Bruce Lipton, we know that we can change our DNA. And what's so cool about that is that nobody has to suffer either genetically. Just because you're predisposed to something doesn't mean you have to live it. That's
Right.
number one. And number two, you can change not just your behavior, but what people think are personality traits. Most personality traits where people are like mean or assholes or dicks or whatever, or really mean women, or as we call them, bitches or whatever, it's really trauma that hasn't been healed and they don't know how to show up in the world in a healthy way. So DNA can be changed and we do it. There are a lot of different modalities. The modality that I specialize is in something called superconscious recodes.
Okay.
And we literally, we have our phones, we have hardware. We're very familiar with hardware. We'll have maybe one piece of hardware for like a year or two, right? Maybe three,
Yeah.
maybe five if you really want to extend it out. The thing is, we have hardware, but how many times will we change or upgrade our software in one piece of hardware? Hardware meaning our body,
Yeah.
and software meaning what's going on in our brain. The
Mhm.
thing is, we know that we have one body, but we are not taught to consciously upgrade our software. And this is what I do. I help my clients consciously upgrade the software by installing new belief systems that serve them and removing the things that don't serve them anymore. So this isn't about removing memories. Memories stay,
Mhm.
but we remove the pain, keep the wisdom, and then that helps them move on to actually get the results they want. As opposed to they're like, oh, well, this happened in my life, therefore this is the result. Like, no, honey. Like that is a choice. Just because you've lived through trauma doesn't mean that you have to have a shitty life or you have to have an unhealthy partner. That is not by default the result. It is what you want it to be. And we install that software in your brain. We can literally give our brain and our body commands.
I mean, my mind is just blown away. I think that is the coolest thing, and I feel like you could probably utilize this in other areas than love too. I mean, I
Mhm.
feel like, well, not just other areas, but I feel like it's a trickle effect, right? If you are working and you're upgrading in one area, you're going to see improvements in another. Do you have any clients that are like, "Oh my gosh, yes, we're working on this, but this is better in my work life or whatnot, or I've got more compassion with my family." Do you have any stories like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everybody's life changes as we up level the love frequency. So a lot of things that have happened on accident that now I'm doing on purpose, and I'll tell you about that in a second, is that my clients double their income in a year. So I've had clients who have started off at 50K and like just talking about love and rewiring the love frequency completely changes and they go into 100 or 150K for the year. Not changing their business or career, by the way, because we weren't even talking about that. Just the amount of money they're bringing in naturally, completely changing their relationship with father figure, mother figure, siblings, and
Yeah.
also, and it's not even about like, oh, they love each other so much. It's about not seeking their validation.
Mhm.
It changes the dynamic of how you feel about yourself. So there's just so much ease around not having to change another person in order for you to be comfortable with who you are. And that completely shifts everything. So people make a lot more money. Their health increases. I've been able to find, before my clients got scans or CT scans or x-rays, I could tell when there was something, a cyst, specifically one client, in one of her vertebrae. And I said, there's something there. She's like, how do you know? I was like, I can feel it, I can sense it, and I can tap into it. And we've been able to since then remove that. And sure enough, the x-rays show. And she was like, Emmy, my doctors told me they've never seen this before. How did you know that that was what it was? And I'm like, because I
Whoa.
could see it. Okay, so the training that I have, I can tap into a specific field. Best part is it's not something special to me. I actually now have a certification program. And
I was wondering about that.
Yes.
I was like, she should
Yeah.
totally teach other people this.
Yeah, I'm kind of good at this stuff, right? And not only am I good at the coaching part, according to my clients and other people that I have taught, I'm also really good at teaching it. And I love teaching and informing this. So I do have a certification program, and now people come in, and it's a very holistic approach. So I do not believe in, like, you come in, we learn about love, and that's it. Like, that's silly. Like, no, like, we are a whole being. Like, what the beep?
Right.
Right. So we do everything in my coaching packages. We talk about health. We'll recalibrate your body to being healthy. We'll talk about money. We'll talk about life's purpose, career, everything that you need to do there, and obviously love. And we have a specific focus on money. How do you bring in a lot more moolah in your life on purpose? Here's a key, though. Here's the key, because people think like, oh, you hustle and you work more. No. How do you bring it in easily and effortlessly, where you're actually working a lot less, you enhance your joy and fulfillment, and you bring in more money? There's a specific strategy, chronological order that you must go through.
Oh, well, that all sounds lovely.
Just like that.
Just, poof, and we're done.
Yeah.
I think this is absolutely fascinating. I love geeking out on learning about the brain and like how you can reprogram it. And I just like think about things and then I talk about things, but I'm not scientifically backed. So I like that you are.
Yes.
And I love, because I was thinking after we talked the first time, I was like, man, she should really like get a program where she can help other people learn this, because I think so many people, even if you're like, I'm in a healthy, happy relationship, that doesn't mean it wouldn't be beneficial to take my relationship, to take my life to the next level as well. Where was I'm trying to think what my question was there. I don't know. I was so excited about what you're doing. I told you I get very excited.
I think it was just the fact statement of like, there's no such thing as you're just done. My husband and I are continuously growing. And by the way, a lot of people think that, Matt does stuff with me. Like we do not work in the same field at all. I'm a coach. I do not coach him. Very important.
That is important.
Okay. My husband does maintenance and facility stuff for a living. Like, he's really good with his hands. He actually built everything in my office. This desk that you see here, he made from his bare hands, and he makes these lamps, and like, he's very kinesthetic. He learns that way by doing experiments that way, right? I don't work like that. I'm more software driven with computer stuff. If my computer's broken, I go get a new one. Like, he doesn't. He builds computers from scratch, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm total fucking Humpty Dumpty there. Like,
no, honey.
Like,
you have fun with that.
Yeah. Right. So our brains are very different, but the level of respect we have for each other there is magnificent, because we can build and grow our businesses and our life together. So I have my goals for my business. He has his goals for what he wants to do for his career, but then we have goals together. And this is where a lot of couples struggle, because sometimes one person is off building an empire and the other one is just the support. And eventually that's going to turn into resentment. Doesn't matter how much you love each other, there's going to be a level of resentment. So unless you're growing together in a specific area of your life, consciously and on purpose, something's going to fall apart eventually somewhere, and there's going to be a little screw that falls loose.
That right there, in and of itself, is worth the price of this admission, which there was no price. So other than time, you need to be growing together on purpose. I think that is so huge, to be understanding and respectful of each other's paths,
Yes.
but seeing and talking about, where do we want to go? What do we want to do? What do we want our life to look like as a whole, as a family? And how can we support each other doing that?
Mhm.
And I think that's something that we're often missing, is taking the time to have those conversations and understanding where our life is growing, not just from my financial point of view, because that can change. We all know that things can happen, whatever, but you really need to be growing together. And man, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how you help other people with their businesses, because I know you mentioned that as well. You can help small business people, which I think I have a good amount of those hanging out with me because I am one. So, like attracts like.
Yes.
How do you help other people figure out this whole, I got an idea, here it becomes a business?
Yeah. So in order to share this part of what I do now, I'm going to share a little bit of my past, because this
Sure.
helps
Yeah.
people. They're like, oh, okay. So she actually knows what she's doing. I'm like, yeah, I kind of know what I'm doing.
The validation part, the credibility. That's what it
Right.
is.
Because there else people go into like, wait, how does she, wait, what?
Right.
So
I get that
here,
all the time.
right.
I feel you.
So I'll show you my results right now as I've built my personal business organically, no paid ads, no advertisements, no nothing,
Amazing.
from zero to we closed 400K last week in 18 months. Okay. So in a very, to me, it seemed like a long time, but a lot of people think
Right,
that's a
of
very
course.
short amount of time. So I
It
give you
always
the
does
time
when
frame,
you're in
right?
it.
Right. So, and we're now scaling to, the blueprint now is 1.2 million in the next 6 months. So that's where we're headed. And this, we are going to go into paid ads and bring in a whole team and all that fun stuff. But I tell you this because I didn't just start there. My background is I was in Silicon Valley for 10 years. After I stayed in Silicon Valley after I graduated from Berkeley. So I was in San Francisco and got really good at the marketing side. And also, this is where I realized I was a good coach. But I was coaching tech entrepreneurs and taking their business and seeing if it was actually viable in the marketplace, meaning, were people willing to pay for it? Did they even have any customers? So I got really good at helping people find, what is your client avatar? What are their pain points? Like, do they even have a problem? A lot of people create products because it's a nice to have. And I go for the jugular. Is this a must have? If it's something nice to have, think of it as the difference between, if you have a massive freaking migraine, are you going to take a vitamin C, supplement, or are you going to take Excedrin? You're going to go for the things that's going to remove the pain instantly. So that's where I teach people, how do you do the messaging around that? First, you got to find the people who are in that massive pain, and then you create the solution that is going to relieve that pain, as opposed to going the other way around and be like, hey, look, I created this really cool little gadget thing. Anybody want to buy it from me? Please,
Right.
please, 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 please. It doesn't work that way. Okay.
It doesn't work well that way.
No,
For
it doesn't
sure.
work very well. Right. So I sell things first and then build them. So my program, I sold it first and then I put people into the program, and then I created it. So week by week, I was making it up as I went because it was live. So that's where a lot of people get scared. It's like, I need it to be perfect, and it's never going to be perfect. So I tell you that because a lot of my clients there, I was brought in by Microsoft, Lyft, AT&T, SanDisk to train and communicate between their engineering teams and their marketing teams, because they were always,
they don't. They don't.
they're not very good friends.
No.
And it kind of causes some issues for the supervisors, because it's like they need them to get along. So I would come in and do technical translations, meaning the engineering team would tell me what they needed, and then I would bring it to the marketing team, and the marketing team would be like, this is what we need. And I would help them come into the middle, not a compromise. Compromises never work. We would come to a resolution. So that's what I do now with couples. I translate, what do they actually mean? Not what are they saying, what do they mean? Even if it's in the same language, English or Spanish, I'm fluent in both. So it doesn't matter. Most people don't know how to actually say what they mean. And that's where I'm an expert at. I extract the meaning and visualize the meaning and verbalize it. So that's my background. So now, because that has worked so well, I have now implemented those tools for my clients, and that business has blown up. So now I have a VIP program just for women who want to launch their purpose-driven coaching, or I have real estate agents, I have whatever it is that your heart desires. But the reason they come to work with me is because I give them the strategy and the mindset and the recodes. It doesn't matter how much strategy you have. If you don't have a brain rewiring system in place, you're not going to get very far, because everybody's got a ceiling. Everybody has a mental and emotional ceiling. So unless you have somebody working with you that's going to help you snap out of that and take a quantum leap out of where you currently are, you're going to stay stuck for a while. How do I know that? Because that was me. I was stuck for a really long time because I wanted to do it on my own. Right.
Yeah,
so I was
of course.
That was me.
Yeah. I'm super DIY, figure it out myself, but I've also come to appreciate how coaching can really push you forward and help you fill in those gaps. And even just giving you that, like, yeah, this is good, keep going. That encouragement can even be so useful. One thing I want to touch on that you mentioned, though, about your own story that I really want to highlight for people: you sold and then created.
Yes.
Which is to say, you also mentioned how you started at a lower price and have grown. I think so many people get caught up on, like, how do I come up with my $10,000 idea right out the gate? And that's not, I mean, if you can, like, more power to you, right? Like, cool. But it's okay, and it's good to start small, sell something, get the practice, get the feedback, not let it be perfect, but get those reps in, and then keep building on it. Your clients will still be grateful that you gave them where you were today versus waiting to never give it to them at all.
Correct.
And I just think that's so important for people to understand, because I know personally there's a lot of advice out there that is like, well, if you just find your $10,000 idea and just sell it to one person every month. And I'm like, okay, but like, what is it? It's really hard to just come out the gate with that when you're brand new, and you don't have to.
Absolutely.
Hello.
And
Hello.
know this, that your clients will grow with you. So
Exactly.
those same clients that paid me $100 18 months ago are now paying me $15K. So you're probably thinking, like, wait, what? Why would they do that? Because they freaking love me.
Well, and they
because they're
appreciate the
getting
value.
results. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. They appreciate the value you gave them in the first place.
Mhm.
They're your raving fans.
They are my
And
raving fans. And then I am teaching them how to do that with others. So they know where to start. And you have to start off small. I had to start off small to build up my own certainty. Without that, there's no way I would have started charging $30,000 for VIP packages. Like, that wasn't
Right.
even what? And now it's like, of course, that's my standard. So it just, and that's pricing is already going up. Like, there's no way I'm going to be charging that in the next 6 months. Right.
Amazing.
Because my target audience is completely different. So you will rise as your certainty and your congruency rises. This is one thing I will make very, very clear about congruency. People miss all the time. Hear me now. Do not try to sell something that you haven't gotten the results from yet. Okay.
Huge.
I see too many people out there, build out 100, I'll teach you how to be a 100K coach or 10K months, when they're not creating that yet. How the heck do you think you're going to get there when you're lying to yourself and to people? And I know, like, there's this whole manifestation thing. They're like, yeah, but you don't do it through your messaging. You don't lie like that. The reason I became so successful so quick is because I already have my soulmate. I honestly don't know. More power to coaches who talk about bringing in soulmate love who aren't in a relationship. I honestly don't know how they do it.
I don't either.
I'm impressed, frankly. That somebody would fall for those lies, because I think that's a lie. Like, I have the relationship that I'm talking about, so I don't have to lie about it. It's so easy to just share my life and my story. And I also have the business results. There's no way in heck that 18 months ago, I would be selling the business stuff then, because I was at zero. How incongruent is that? So this is the number one thing. And a lot of people are probably thinking, like, well, how do I do that? Because I don't know, whatever. This is where you need a coach to help you. What is it that you've already built? You've already been successful in a specific area in your life. You and I talked about this, May.
Yes. We did. We
already talked about this.
She already yelled at me.
I already yelled at you because I love you, right?
I know.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it's something you're really freaking good at, but you take for granted. And that's what I find. I'm like, you take that for granted because you think everybody else knows how to do that. And you're like, they don't? Like, no, you're freaking good at that and other people are not. Sell that. And that's usually
Right.
how it starts.
I mean, that's so true. I think I should probably not be tiny. I think the hard part is identifying what that thing is because that's the big problem, right? We are so blind to our own talents because or not even just skills, right? Because they come easy. And we don't take the time to reflect back and say, "Oh, wow, okay, maybe this did take me a long time to get here." Even with just like my studio setup.
Yeah.
I just think, well, this was easy to create. And then when I started to really like break it down and break down the cost and the time, I was like, oh, damn. Okay, no, I didn't just start. And when I really think about it, it's like, okay, yeah, just because I was an actress and a model for so many years, that didn't instantly translate into Zoom calls, video calls, because the big difference is you can see yourself and you never see yourself while you're talking. And it was something I had to do and figure out. And now that I'm good at it, I'm like, "Oh." But I had to take the time to process it.
Yeah.
And I think that's and put it out there. I think you'll often do something and you won't realize it's good, but when you share things publicly or, maybe not fully publicly, don't get me wrong, you don't need to put everything out there, but when you start to like share your gifts, people will tell you and reflect back to you. Just like you said, your friends were like, "How are you doing this?" That was your big flag, right? Ultimately, that was the big flag. Other people were asking you how to do the same thing. And I think that and maybe you have some other advice because I would love to hear it. How do you think other people identify that thing that they're
That
good at that they're blind to?
yeah, it's kind of started the way the conversation with us when you're talking about your studio setup, and I told her straight up like, wow, Amanda, I really like your studio setup. Your audio is magnificent. Like, you look great. The lighting's right in there. And you told me like, yeah, okay, cool. And I could tell that you weren't like, you thought I was just being nice. And I'm like, no, like, you have a really great setup that, as someone who spends her life on
Right.
Zoom pretty much 24/7, I can tell you most people don't do this and don't have it professionally set up and are making shit ton of money. So,
I know.
it goes into like, how can you sell that or something else you're really good at? So people will start telling you like, hey, you're really good at that. And this is where I want you to pay attention. Stop deflecting those comments. Think of, are you hearing the same thing over and over again? And maybe over and over again, maybe for me, I have a rule. If I hear something 3 times, or if somebody suggests a book once, I don't pick it up and read it. If they suggest it twice, I don't pick it up and read it. But if I hear it 3 times and I can consciously remember that there was a third time I've heard about it, maybe in the last year or 6-month period, I know I better get that freaking book. Okay. Those are winks that I call from the universe, and sort of notices and downloads information that's being sent to you, and you will hear the same. And that's what I call a pattern, right? 2 is not a pattern, 3 is. So
Mhm.
you can see a pattern and people are telling you now it's a theme, and it's something you have to hear me now. You have to pay attention to, because the inspiration is not always going to be there. So if you're like, oh, and scared of launching anything because it's not perfect, you're never going to get anywhere. Literally. And I had this conversation with my clients last week who came over for a VIP weekend. My clients come and spend a whole weekend with me, and it's like intense,
fun.
immersive. It's really fun because they get one-on-one time and in person. We do a lot of really cool exercises, and not gym related, by the way, exercises.
Hands up,
Other kinds.
hands up.
Yeah. You can tell I spend a lot of time at the gym.
That's okay.
So we have we have a lot of fun together. But they told me like, Emmy, like, how do you do it? Right? Like, how you put out all of this content, you have all of these new programs coming out. I mean, and I told them, I was like, here's my secret. Here's my secret. And they're like, okay, what is it? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like 99% of the time, I just show up and freaking do what I call channel and let whatever information needs to come to me and share that. Like, I don't come prepped. I don't come Like there's some things, larger things that I have some slides for the most part, the VIP stuff, I'm just so 100% immersed in whatever is happening in front of me and reading my client's body, their energy, their essence, everything, tapping into every single cell of their being, that I'll say in that instant whatever is going to blow their mind and have them on this high vibe for the week until they talk to me. That's my secret. This whole you need to be prepared 24/7. If that was the case, literally, I can tell you right now, I would have never launched my business because I still don't have a nice setup. Look at what I have versus what Amanda has. Okay. And for now, it freaking works.
That's the thing though, like you have to work with what you have now. And I
Mhm.
think we also get into that comparison game of like, oh, well, her setup is so amazing, or their Instagram feed, or this or that, or whatever it might be. Like we get into this comparison game instead of appreciating where we have what we have and striving to do more. And I think what I'm seeing a lot, at least in the last year, is like people are like, oh, I want to do more, I want to do more, but then they don't take those steps. They don't try one new thing. They don't actively work to improve what they're doing. And I think that makes a big, big difference. You've got to always be, testing, innovating, trying things out, and be willing to see an opportunity and go for it. Just go for it.
Absolutely. And be willing to lose money.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can tell you that up front. I hired a lot of coaches that didn't work out. And I was like, okay, cool. I hired some Facebook ads people that didn't work out. Okay, cool. I've run a lot of experiments that have not panned out, but I've also run a lot of experiments that have. And you're not going to know which ones are which until you just try. So this is the thing where you have to let it go. And I have to tell myself this all the time and not get stuck in like, well, that didn't work out, so let me not try again. It's the equivalent of, getting in a car accident or a little, fender bender and be like, oh, I'm never driving again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go. I've been in a lot of car accidents, especially earlier in my years in the Bay Area. Not really so much anymore, but I had to keep driving. So these are the experiments and the risks that we have to be willing to take to be like, okay, well, lesson learned. And now I know better. Now you come from a place of wisdom as opposed to from a place of fear.
Yes. Yes. That's something I harp on with people a lot is like, if you don't try something, you're not going to succeed at it, period.
Yeah.
And failure isn't negative.
Mm-mm.
Failure is just an opportunity to learn and try again.
Yep.
That's it.
I used to tell my tech entrepreneurs all the time, there's a difference between it was a failure, meaning your experiment, versus I am a failure. The second we turn it into an identity thing, you're done. So this is what I help my clients do is extract that as an identity. We're only going to take on the identity that serves you, not the one that's going to hurt you. And I have a lot of experiments that are massive, massive freaking failures, and I'm proud of it.
Right.
But I don't consider myself a failure.
It's so huge. And that takes time and lessons and learning. And again, it takes time to reflect on these things. I mean, you didn't learn to walk right away. You didn't learn to drive instantaneously. And if you forgot that you had to take time and learn to drive, get in the car with a teenager. Try to figure out how to drive. You'll be like, what is happening? Okay. All right. Okay. You can speed up here. No, now slow down, right? Get in a car with a teenager trying to drive, and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, right. This isn't as easy as it is now because I do it all the time. Yeah. All the time. That's like my favorite example. And you brought up cars. And I think that's so funny because it's my favorite example of like, you weren't good at driving at first.
Correct.
You still do it, and you probably do it every day, just about. If you're lucky, you don't, because at least in America, you might do it every day. I don't know. Right. I want to be respectful of your time. We've gone a little longer than I intended, but I really enjoyed talking with you, and I think you're just a wealth of information. Where can the peoples find you, my dear? Where are you at?
The peoples can find me.
I say the weirdest thing. I say the Wi-Fi's, the peoples. Like, I'm weird.
I love it. You're my peoples. You're my
Fact.
peoples. My peoples. The peoples can find me at dualityofathena.com if you want to learn specifically around love and VIP coaching stuff there. And there's also a new masterclass that my business partner and I have launched that people can sign up for a nominal amount. So I can send you some more details there if you want to send me a message through my website. And that one's super easy peasy, where you're getting 4 recodes a month with myself and my business partner. And we do health, love, and money, and life's purpose. So all of the important life things for peoples, all in one small package. And I think we're having a Black Friday special where you can sign up for $99 a month for 12 months. So it's super easy peasy. We want to make this information and this access easy for people to sign up, because I know that not everyone can sign up for my $30,000 package. That's okay. But we do have access for people to change their lives in a short amount of time for nominal investment.
I think that's brilliant because, well, from a business standpoint, right, that's brilliant because then, people can grow into it. And if they do change their lives, then they might be able to afford it anyways.
Exactly.
So that's brilliant. But also, it's so important to give people the opportunity to grow where they are. Again, start where you are and grow into something more and allow yourself that. So thank you for that. That's brilliant. And we'll make sure that that is in the descriptions wherever you are watching or listening to this. And we hope that you enjoyed our little chat here with Emmy Hernandez and dualityofathena.com. Sometimes you got to bring the announcer voice in. It's a lot more fun. Emmy, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being an amazing light in the world. You are going to be changing so many lives, and I am so excited to watch your journey and see where it all goes. And, maybe we'll have to do this again sometime because I just think you were just so much fun.
I would love to. And thank you so much for being so freaking awesome being on your show, Amanda May.
Well, you are awesome. And if you're watching or listening to this, I want you to know that you are awesome as well. We love you and we believe in you. And if you need a little, pick me up, somebody to high five you and tell you, yes, you may do that and take control of your life, stay tuned in. If you know somebody who needs this as well, feel free to share, comment, and like. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you, Emmy. Everybody else, have a beautiful day.